What's up with it, kinfolk? It's Najee. Listen, we just had Jamaal Sheats pull up. Good to have you here, Jamaal
Hey, man.
Sheats. Fisk in the house.
Let me tell you something. I've been trying so hard to make the pilgrimage to come down here because there's been so much energy and excitement that I've been watching from afar. And so I'm so fortunate that today I made it.
Hey.
And it is everything. It met all of the expectations and more.
Oh man, I appreciate that, brother. It's labor of love. You know, we do it with love and passion, and we just happy to be here. And when I saw you dot that walkway, I was like, oh snap! You got OG now.
Yeah,
man, it's so good to see you, man. It's like I feel like I don't know when
it's
last
been a long
time
time.
I seen you
probably
in
a
person.
decade, if not longer.
Yeah.
Probably about a decade.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And sorry, only thing from my conversation, I just hate to hear that you hadn't been working on your art.
I know it.
You know, that's the only thing, man.
I'm gonna build capacity so I can get there.
Gotcha.
And I do a little bit, but not the way in which I would like to.
Yeah, I understand. You putting in work for a greater cause.
Yeah, and it's different. I'm making artists and making curators. So that's the, planting those seeds. So it feels fulfilling in a way to take part in someone's development.
Oh yeah. I get that. I know for me, I think about how following in the tradition. And there's you're in the best space to even talk about following in the tradition.
Yeah.
When you think about being at HBCU, being at Fisk. Talk about that, man. What is that like?
Oh man, it's special. It's like, man, it's when you walk into that space every day. I mean, it's that ground is sacred.
Yeah.
When I think about the artist and the institutional memory that lives there between the gallery and the library together, I think you have one of the greatest repositories of the cultural production of the peoples of the African diaspora. It's powerful. Like I get to live in that every day. I get to recount John T. Scott talking about there's so much excitement going on up at Fisk that he would drive from Louisiana to Nashville. I get to talk about that and got evidence and proof of that experience that he was describing.
Yeah.
I get to look at works by Earl Hooks, who we were just talking about, who I didn't know Far and Sarah Battle were here last night in Bing of all people. I'm like, come on.
Your family folks
Oh
here,
man, you got some heroes down here.
Hey man.
Like there's some stars. But to begin to, I'm gonna rewind just a little bit, just to talk about Earl Hooks and how he was a catalyst or a champion within the art department. Like we were working on two shows. We had a Terry Atkins exhibition that was up. We had let me turn this off. We had a Terry Atkins exhibition that we were getting ready to open. His class at 75. Perrin Lathrop, who was a curatorial fellow, she's now an Africanist at Princeton. And then the Coupadar, we're working on African modernism in America. They really spoke to this exchange of ideas of artists both here and on the continent.
Okay.
Like we think about art in these silos, but there were these exchanges. You had artists like Peter Clark from South Africa coming to Fisk. You had all these artists coming to Fisk, but then also going to the continent. And then I had the opportunity in doing research for that project to sit down with David Driscoll. And I was asking him at the end of it, after we talked about all the things that he was able to accomplish and what he did on campus and beyond, I asked him, how did you do it? And he was like, I got a great team. When you think about the spirit of experimentation, I said, well, how'd you do that? He's like, oh, that was Earl. That was Earl Hooks. So Earl Hooks in a lot of ways was like the artist,
Okay.
And so to fully realize his imprint and to be able to celebrate it is something that I find great joy in. And that's the moment I'm in right now, which feels like a bit of an exclamation point to a certain degree, because it just feels like it's a statement, Cliff notes on Fisk. We've been collecting since the 1870s. The art department, there were classes taught within the arts in the 80s, 70s, and 80s, but they were not arts discipline. I think around 1924, we started an art education department, but the art department wasn't actually founded until 1944.
Okay.
And that was founded by Aaron Douglas. One of our great national treasures, one person I would call the visual voice of the Harlem Renaissance.
That's right.
He would start teaching in the late 30s, one class a semester, and they were officially founded in 44. He would maintain that until 1966 when he would invite back for a Spring Arts Festival, David Driscoll. And he and Honor Bontemps, had a conversation with Driscoll, and Driscoll accepted.
Yeah. Was this the ceramics class, or was that maybe I'm getting it mixed up with Talladega? What did
Talladega. He was a chair of the art department.
Okay.
From 1966 or 67 through 76.
Okay.
So when you look at, in all the exhibitions that were this seeding these ideas, the formidable years of Driscoll's career, I believe, were at Fisk.
Okay.
He left in 76. And that's when 2 Centuries of Black.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's drawn primarily from our collection. On the cover, you got Building More Stately Mansions by Aaron Douglas. That's on view right now. But yeah, when you look at, what was the name of that HBO documentary? Do you remember that? In Darkness, There's Light.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Those opening credits, that's the John Hope and Aurelia Franklin Library.
Okay.
But going back.
In the
absence of light. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Those opening credits are at Fisk. So the one thing I think is important to note, and this goes back to the Harmon Foundation, all of those things, that Douglas, as we even begin to learn more about his work as not just an artist, but as an arts administrator, he had an artist in resident program. When he was there, you had artists like William E. Scott, who studied under Tanner, who was an artist, who went to Art Institute of Chicago, who was an artist in resident at Fisk. You had Betsy Renew Graves, who was commissioned to a bunch of portraits through the Harmon Foundation, was an artist in resident at Fisk. But when Driscoll comes, you see this explosion. Okay. You had Carlton Moss, you had Bobby Sinstack, you had Bobby Sinstack, his family, he was an editor-in-chief for the Chicago Defender, and they also owned the Detroit Free Press. Okay. You had Stephanie Pogue, printmaker. You had Greg Ridley, who was my mentor. When I look at photographs and images of that time, it's like, man, it's the dream team. Yeah. Then you had exhibitions. You got to remember that, like 1971, Alma Thomas, before she did the groundbreaking show at the Whitney in 72, she was at Fisk. Okay. Elizabeth Catlett.
I didn't realize that.
Oh man, Who's Who in American art came through Fisk? The people we talk about now, Martin Purry was a teaching artist in residence.
So hold on, Alma at Fisk in 71.
Yes.
Right? Was she teaching a residency or what was going on?
Well, she wasn't teaching, she did an exhibition.
Okay.
These were shows that were going on. Some were teaching artists in residence, but like Walter Williams was a teaching artist in residence. But there were also exhibitions that were going on. Okay. But I'll tell you about what's crazy. Is that on campus, our students are inundated with high quality artwork every day. So Spring Flowers at Jefferson, which is amazing, iconic work by Alma Thomas, lives in the women's dorm. When they get off that elevator every morning, they looking at Alma Thomas every single day. It's amazing.
Oh, it had that close proximity and access.
Yep. Yeah. That's what it's all about. For me, it's greater than that. Access is a part of it, and I like to borrow from Lonnie Bunch. Okay. He called, Lonnie Bunch said when he came to campus in 23, he said that this material and talking about what these artists are producing help us understand who we are, who we're becoming, and who we aspire to be. Okay. My mentor, another mentor, Maria Madeleine de Campos Pons, she would call it the visual representation of the soul of humanity.
Like need some large.
Oh plaques. Man,
these on quotes.
But this is it. This is the material that you're dealing with. These are the artists. These contemporary artists are the artists that you're amplifying their careers for generations to understand what was happening to contextualize what was happening right now. This is the work you're doing. This is the material that you're handling. This is the work that you are producing. You're responding to what's happening around us.
That's true.
You're taking what's in your blood and put it on paper or sculpting with it. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Gotta get some in the collection.
Oh man,
I want to be part of that continuum.
I mean, that's a easy. That you see, I got my coffee down.
I know, right? We good.
I got my coffee down. I'm feeling inspired sitting here, and you all can't. Whoever's watching this can't see what I'm seeing, but I hope you've seen it before. But I'm just sitting here inspired with the magnitude and the beauty that's housed within these walls. So,
no, it's a tremendous blessing, man. We got to make a trip up to Fisk. We got to get us a large group and gathering and come there and celebrate with y'all and commune. And what are some of the bigger challenges you think that are affecting HBCU, particularly our departments right now?
It's funding. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think so. For us, I think one of the largest challenges it's literally funding and capacity. I think that's the largest singular challenge for us today. We partner a lot. We partner in training and developing the next generation of arts leaders. And for me, it's not just about those arts leaders or artists. It's also about the future donors, collectors, and how can we cultivate them now? Yeah. Like I realized that when I think about, I'm still shocked. I got students from New York, Chicago, LA, all of these cultural hubs that have never been to a museum. Okay. And so a big job, I sing in the gallery. Like I feel more reserved in here because I'm in a professional space. But a big part of it is to demystify the space. Yeah. Like to break down all the barriers. Mm-hmm. And funding is it's a real need. Yeah. But we're okay. But I think a big role that we play is really just demystifying that space. And I think representation is important. We just don't do Black shows. We do a bunch of shows. Mm-hmm. Our collection is not just about a singular experience. But what's fascinating when I talk about representation, it's fascinating the response I do get from our students. Mm. One of my colleagues did a show a couple years ago, Multiplicity, Blackness in Contemporary Collage, American Collage. Great show. Mm-hmm. And I asked my students what I thought about it. They said, man, it felt so good to see Black joy. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see how the students respond to the work, the whole new generation.
Oh man, it's exciting. I mean, I learn something from them every day. Okay. Every day.
It's been a minute since we did the podcast. Want to give y'all a little behind the scenes of what we're doing at Black Art in America, and hope y'all tune in and check it out. Leave a comment. Let me know if you want more behind the scenes of what's popping at BAIA, the people that's stopping in, the things that we're doing as a company. Let me know in the comments, and share, subscribe, holla Black. Peace.